Mac is better than Windows. And the race is not even close anymore, because in 2026, there's obviously a clear winner. Because when you look at the laptops available on each side, you have Apple versus Dell, Lenovo, ASUS, and so on. Most people might think that Windows has a clear advantage, but that's not really true. Let's start with the actual laptops people buy. On the Apple ecosystem side, you have the M4 MacBook Airs with the lightning fast performance, durability, and cheaper prices. Then you have the top of the line MacBook Pro with the new M5 chips, and those chips are rapid and fast. On Windows side, you have the usual competitors, the Dell XPS 13 and 15 and so on, the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, the Lenovo laptops, and you have the performance laptops like the ASUS Zephyrus G14. Then you have the more novelty ones like the Microsoft Surface laptops and so on. What Microsoft has on its own side is that it has an abundance of choices with various things like touchscreens, fingerprint sensors, and so many other things. These are the best that Windows has to offer. So if Mac is actually going to be better than Windows, this is what it has to compete against. Now this is where everything completely changed. Apple's M series chip came into the laptop industry and completely flipped it on its head. The base M series chip produces performance that rivals top-of-the-end desktop PCs. And don't get me started on the M5 Max processors. These processors have the power to beat top-of-the-line Intel and AMD chips in multi-core performance. That's absolutely crazy. And here's the big thing. The main advantage isn't just raw power, it's efficiency and compatibility. Macros can deliver high level performance and power without needing massive coolers and loud fans. When you want to edit, when you want to code, when you want to multitask, what do you run to? A MacBook. Do you know why? Because Apple's ecosystem and because they have produced all their parts in-house allows them to optimize both the software and hardware experience to give you the best of both worlds and give you the smoothest experience across laptops. Windows, on the other hand, because of the various different manufacturers and so on, there's more friction when it comes to this. This is a similar case when it comes to Apple smartphones and Android smartphones. The lack of compatibility and the friction when it comes to making hardware and software. Now here's where it gets completely unfair. Let me ask you a question. If you're given a MacBook or Windows laptop to go about your daily work for the entire day on one single charge, what do you rather use? MacBook or Windows? If you choose a Windows, fine, but the actual answer is a MacBook. A normal MacBook can last 18 to 22 hours on a single charge and still give you high level performance. No stuttering, no lagging, no nothing. Some can even last you multiple days depending on how you use it. That's extremely crazy. But on the Windows, on the other hand, if you want to get top of the line performance, you need it to be plugged in. I've suffered this a lot. Editing videos, gaming and so on. I will need my PC to be plugged in the entire day just to get the maximum performance. Sometimes even having to go into your settings to change that. It's absolutely crazy. It always boils down back to Apple's producing its own parts and the type of batteries they use. It's all down to the optimization. If you need both performance and long-term battery uses, Mac will give you the best of both worlds. And now, one of the main reasons for Apple's dominance is because Apple controls everything. The chips, the hardware, the software, they produce it, they make it, they handle it all by themselves in-house. While for Windows, on the other hand, Windows laptops are built by dozens of companies using various different parts, various different software, trying to work on one operating system. That's why a MacBook Air with no fan cooling it down can run better and outperform a Windows laptop. It's not just about how powerful it is, it's about efficiency. Security is also another big difference. Windows is one of the most used operating systems, if not the most used operating system. Most computers or laptops use some version of Windows. That means there's various versions that hackers have their hands on and they can write codes and scripts to lead to malicious and malware threats and attacks. I'm not saying Mac is secure, but obviously it's less used and there are better software and apps optimized on it, so that's Gatekeeper and other settings that restrict the downloads of unauthorized and certain apps, further keeping it safe. No operating system is safe, but with less exposed it is to hackers and other malicious actors, then the less likely it is to be attacked. Now, let me ask you a question. If I gave you a MacBook and a Windows laptop in 2019, and you kept both of them safe until now, which one do you think will be in better position, run better, and potentially have more value? The answer is the MacBook. MacBooks are built to last, some typically lasting from 6 to 8 years, having good performance at a reasonable level. Obviously not the same as when it's fresh out of the box, but at a reasonable level. Many Windows laptops start to dwindle in performance after 3 to 4 years due to various different reasons, software, hardware limitations, and so on. And it's not just about lifespan, it's also about value. If you were to sell that MacBook laptop, you could get hundreds of pounds right now. While the Windows laptop, it will go for significantly less because of the quality of what Apple uses to build their laptops and how it's built and the reputation they have built for durability. They have higher resale value. That's one of the considerations people place when buying a new laptop. So let me ask you the question. What will you actually want to buy? And what will you buy? A Mac or Windows laptop? If you're a student, the MacBook Air is one of your best choices. It is an all-round computer with various different features that works really well without no problems. You can use one of the few problems it has is lack of software. Some software might need to use a Windows laptop, and that's fine. You may need to get that. But if you're a professional looking for productivity, such as coding, video editing, and so on, the MacBook Pro is your best friend. Hands down the most powerful laptop in the world, and I'm saying that as a Windows user. But if you're a gamer, I would generally advise you to go on the Windows side. We have various options like the ASUS's, the Dells, the HPs, and so on, because they are far more optimized for gaming systems, and the games that are being created are better run on those systems. Obviously, those had added advantages having GPUs such as the AMD and NVIDIA GPUs. That's another advantage. But in all honesty, if you want to choose between a Mac and a Windows laptop, it basically depends on what you want to use it for. And also another reason I may have not talked about is Windows laptops are cheaper and more affordable, so you can buy them at significantly less prices if you're on a budget. At the end of the day, it's based on what you use it for and what you're willing to trade. What are your trade-offs that you're willing to make? Will you trade off gaming? Will you trade off productivity? Will you trade off price? At the end of the day, it's your choice of what you buy. So now, let's be honest. Windows laptops are not horrible. They are far from that. Some of the best laptops you can buy right now are Windows. But in all honesty, if you're looking for something for good performance, battery life, efficiency, and a good ecosystem, the Mac is your best friend, hands down. Because Mac might not be the overall package, but what it offers compensates for what it doesn't offer. Windows has the advantages, Mac has the advantages. That is one of the beauty of the innovation we have in the current technology industry. Because of various technology, various companies, the ability to compete against each other, we are spoiled for choice as users, allowing you to have a plethora of choices. If you want to buy a new laptop or a PC, you can go online, PC part checker, so on, ChatGPT, compare different laptops, compare what you need and what you don't need, see what's within your price range and what's not within your price range. At the end of the day, because of how far we've come in terms of technology and innovation, we have spoiled for choice. You can make your choice among the bunch. At the end of the day, it just boils down to what you have and what you want to get. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's been really nice to make this video. Let me know your answer, Mac or Windows, and let me know your reasons. Let's talk about it down in the comment section. See you in the next one. Bye.